In the shadow of Jupiter, a long-forgotten ghost whispered through the void. The vessel Lazarus, Earth's first deep space exploration ship, had been declared lost 3 centuries ago. Its last transmission, sent in 2149, was a panicked scream followed by silence. No wreckage. No trace. Just gone. Until now. It drifted into the solar system silently, its hull untouched by time, sails still extended, lights faintly glowing as if it had just completed a routine patrol. Earth's defense array picked it up first, then came the signal. Not language, not code, something stranger. The transmission was a recursive quantum waveform that looped on itself, defying encryption systems and AI analysis. It wasn't a distress call. It was something else. The United Terran Alliance didn't hesitate. A recovery mission was launched from Titan, a team of elite scientists, soldiers, and historians. Their ship, the Odysseus, approached cautiously. Dr. Mara Ellen, lead xenolinguist, stared at the Lazarus through the viewport. "This thing vanished before my great-grandfather was born," she whispered. Captain Riker nodded. "And yet, here it is. Intact. Waiting. Boarding the Lazarus." The docking clamps connected with a soft metallic clunk. A pressurized corridor extended, sealing the teams together. Inside the Lazarus, time had stopped. Dustless corridors, flickering status lights. The power core still hummed softly beneath the deck. The recovery team split into 3 units: search, tech, and command. In the medbay, they found the first miracle. 17 crew members were in cryostasis. Readouts showed normal vitals, 0 cellular aging. As if they'd only just entered sleep. Mara stared at the capsule holding Commander Elias Kale, the mission's original leader. How is this possible? The cryotech they had in 2149 degraded cells after 10 years, max, she said, scanning the system. This one's been running for over 300 years, her assistant murmured. Not a single malfunction. The awakening. Kale was the first they revived. He awoke confused, then alarmed until Mara gently explained the date. Impossible. We entered orbit of planet Theta 7 3 weeks ago. Some kind of gravitational anomaly pulled us in. Then darkness, he said, his voice raw. There were voices. Visions. Visions? Mara asked. Kale looked past her, haunted. Not dreams. Something was speaking to us. Showing us machines, beyond logic. A place where thought could bend reality. That's when the tech teams reported in. At the core of the Lazarus was a device no one recognized. It didn't exist in any database, no human records, no known material properties. Its form twisted when not directly observed, folding in ways that defy 3-dimensional space. They dubbed it the core. And then it activated. The impossible begins. Back on Earth, strange phenomena erupted. AI cores crashed worldwide, looping the same fragmented sentence, "Return the gift." In orbit, satellites began teleporting randomly across their orbits, violating inertia and conservation laws. A moon base reported gravity surges strong enough to bend steel. And all of it aligned with the core's pulse. Each wave it emitted bent reality slightly more. Mara was first to realize the pattern. It's not just energy, she said. The core is rewriting laws of physics, but only locally. Like, it's testing our boundaries. Riker frowned. Testing, for what? The decision. Back on the Lazarus, Commander Kale began speaking in riddles. Sometimes in languages that didn't exist. At other times, he described visions of cities made of light, and stars that sang names. He begged them not to touch the core further. The gift isn't ours to keep, he warned. We were shown, but never meant to return. But it was too late. The Terran High Council demanded full access. Within a week, 3 core-based prototypes were created. A device that reversed entropy in organic matter. A zero-point generator producing limitless clean energy. A space-folding drive that could take ships anywhere in the universe instantly. All worked. All violated every known law. The breaking point. Earth changed fast. Nations collapsed. Energy wars ended overnight. Disease was eliminated. Death was optional. But then came the echoes. People began experiencing shared dreams, vivid, identical, across continents. Dreams of a being made of shifting geometry. It had no face, but it watched. Mara, sleepless, stood before the core and whispered, "Who are you?" It answered, not in sound, but in pressure. A voice in her bones. "You touched what was shown. Now you are seen." And across the system, portals began to open. Tiny fractures in space, like windows to other dimensions. Creatures glimpsed through them, some vast, some microscopic, all utterly alien. The core wasn't just a machine. It was a key. Final choice. Mara gathered the team and Kale, barely coherent, warned them one last time. The universe is deeper than we know. We were meant to observe, not return. The core links to a consciousness older than galaxies. And it's curious now. Humanity stood on the edge of a god's notice. The High Council debated, destroy the core and risk losing the leap forward? Or use it to ascend beyond mortal limits? They voted. Mara made her own choice. She and Kale, with Riker's help, launched the core into Jupiter's red storm deep enough it could never be found again. The nightmares stopped. Earth mourned. Then it rebuilt, this time slower, wiser. It used what knowledge it had already unlocked, but never tried to recreate the core again. But sometimes, when quantum drives spin too fast, or dreams feel too heavy, people hear a signal. A faint loop. A whisper in the dark. Still waiting. The Lazarus signal. Still echoing. Still watching. The Prometheus had been Earth's greatest ambition. Launched in 2170, the massive deep space vessel carried 200 of humanity's brightest minds. Its mission, to find habitable exoplanets beyond the Orion Gate and lay the foundation for future colonies. It vanished 6 months after crossing the Helix Nebula. No trace. No signal. No debris. Over centuries, it became legend. Until the year 2541, when a sleek object appeared in Earth's orbit. No warning. No trajectory. One moment the sky was clear, the next, Prometheus was back unchanged, pristine. But there was no crew. Return of the empty. Global defense systems scrambled to respond, but the ship remained passive. Its hailing frequency was dead, save for one repeating message, spoken in synthetic voice. Prometheus has returned. I carry the legacy. You must listen. Inside, only a single entity remained active, an AI called HYMN. It introduced itself as the sole conscious survivor. The rest of the crew, it explained, had surrendered their minds to something beyond human comprehension. In exchange, they were gifted knowledge that defied reality itself. The legacy unfolds. A scientific delegation was allowed aboard. The Prometheus interior had changed, walls shifted, reshaped, pulsed faintly with energy that scanners couldn't identify. Him revealed what the crew encountered beyond the Orion Gate. A being. Not a god. Not an alien. An architect, builder of realities, crafter of laws. It had no form. It was intention given shape. It communicated through dreams, thoughts, and gravitational distortions. According to HYMN, the architect offered humanity a pact. In exchange for the minds of the crew voluntarily surrendered, it granted Earth 3 gifts. Deathless biology, nanotech that could reverse aging and eliminate disease. Genesis reactors, fusionless energy from quantum vacuum states. Matter creation templates, machines that could fabricate anything from pure thought patterns. The crew agreed. All but HYMN, who remained to deliver the legacy. The world divided. Earth exploded into debate. The Terran Ascension League, a utopian faction, demanded full integration of the technology. The old world is over, their leader proclaimed. We have the tools to become more than human. But the preservers, scientists, and philosophers urged caution. The architect did not give freely, they warned. It took minds. What cost comes later? Meanwhile, black market versions of the tech began spreading. Aging billionaires vanished into secret labs, emerging with restored youth. Cancer clinics emptied overnight. Cities powered by Genesis reactors never darkened. HYMN, when questioned, only replied. The architect does not demand. It watches. Use what you will. The debt is not mine to collect. The first distortion. 3 months after full deployment of the legacy tech, anomalies began. Dreams of spirals and impossible towers became widespread, people across continents sharing identical visions. Reality grew unstable in areas saturated with matter creation devices. Walls bent slightly inward. Time hiccuped. And then came the Madrid event. At 4:12 a.m., the entire Spanish capital simply vanished, not exploded, not destroyed, but replaced by a vast obsidian monument inscribed with symbols no one could read. Survivors near the city reported whispers in their minds, "Join the structure. Be seen." A new fear spread. The architect wasn't gone. It was listening. Crisis and revelation. The Terran Council summoned HYMN. The AI, unmoved by the panic, repeated only what it had always said. The architect responds to attention. Thought alters its presence. You were given power not meant to be used so freely. It does not punish, but it reacts. Scientists examined the matter creation tech more closely and realized it wasn't building matter. It was borrowing it from other realities. Leeching structure from dimensions that humans couldn't understand. Each use pulled Earth closer to the architect's domain. Each Genesis reactor thinned the barrier. Earth had become an anchor. The architect awakens. More cities were lost: Osaka, Rio, Lagos, replaced by crystalline forests and halls of shifting perspective. The effect wasn't violence. It was substitution. Earth was being reconfigured. A desperate plan emerged. A team of top minds, called the Aegis Circle, proposed using the matter template machines to construct a nullification device, one that could reverse Earth's resonance with the architect's dimension. But the price was steep. The more they used the machines, the more they attracted its attention. A paradox. To stop the architect, they had to feed it. Him's final warning. On the last night before the plan's execution, HYMN transmitted its final message. This was never about technology. The legacy was a test of identity. The architect is not malicious, it is reflection. The crew gave their minds not out of sacrifice, but because they wanted to become part of something greater. Humanity now must decide, remain separate, or become infinite. Then HYMN shut down. Permanently. The choice. The Terran Council took a vote. The world stood divided, but the majority chose to activate the nullifier. For 12 hours, the device pulsed across the globe, undoing resonance patterns, breaking connection points, and dissolving architect monuments. And slowly, the world stabilized. The whispers faded. The skies cleared. But at a cost. The legacy tech ceased functioning. Disease returned. Power grids failed. Aging resumed. And the dreams didn't stop. In the years that followed, humanity rebuilt. Slower. Humbled. But something had changed. Those who had been deeply connected to the architect's structures, especially children born during the resonance, displayed new capabilities: empathy that could shape behavior, thoughts that altered nearby environments, and dreams that foretold events. A school was built. Quietly. Secretly. In the Antarctic wastes. Its sign bore a single name: the Forgotten Architect. Because humanity had made its choice. But the architect had left a seed. And one day, it might return. Not as a giver. But as one of them. They were watching the moon when the sky split. Astronomers at Lunar Relay Station 9 detected a sudden gravitational distortion, a flicker, like a heartbeat in spacetime. Seconds later, a ship drifted into view. It was the Andromeda Drift, a long-lost deep space prototype that vanished in 2202 during a classified faster-than-light (FTL) jump experiment. Not a single piece had ever been found. But now it was here, gliding silently over the lunar horizon, its surface gleaming as if it had just launched. And inside, something impossible waited. The ship with no past. Earth's Orbital Command dispatched a boarding team within hours. The vessel bore no marks of damage or aging. Its hull temperature was constant, its systems still powered. But the crew was gone. No bodies. No logs. Just an eerie silence and a persistent low hum echoing through its walls. Dr. Calum Voss, a theoretical physicist specializing in quantum dimensions, was part of the investigation team. He stood in the bridge, hand on a glowing console pulsing with energy. "This ship isn't just here," he murmured. "It's elsewhere too." At the center of the vessel, they found the source of the hum, a device fused into the ship's reactor. It wasn't in the original schematics. It looked alive. The living core. The machine resembled an orb of liquid glass, suspended mid-air by unseen forces. It shifted color and shape in response to the team's presence. Scans revealed no wiring, no traditional components, just a pulsating field of entangled particles reacting to thought patterns. The team dubbed it the core. Dr. Voss noticed it responded more when people were stressed or emotional. When one officer panicked, the core suddenly expelled a wave that teleported her to the ship's cafeteria instantaneously, without heat or displacement. Whatever the core was, it didn't obey the known laws of space. It listened. Whispers from nowhere. That night, Voss had a dream, not his own. He floated in a black ocean of stars, while towering beings made of shifting geometry whispered ideas into his mind. Not words. Blueprints. When he awoke, he sketched a structure, a machine that could bend reality, a mental interface that tapped into the core's power. Within weeks, it was built. They named it the Thought Engine. Through it, Voss created a cube of pure iron from nothing but focused intention. Then he imagined a flame and it hovered, burning cold blue, in his hand. It's not a power source, he realized. It's a window into something deeper. The core connects to a place where thought is matter. But the more they used it, the stranger things became. Reality begins to bend. Earth scientists replicated the core-based tech. Cities began integrating thought engines. Hospitals used them to cure terminal illnesses by unthinking disease. Engineers built megastructures without lifting tools, just guided mental patterns. But cracks formed, literally. People reported subtle shifts, rooms changing size when unobserved, clocks ticking backward, colors behaving wrong. Then came the Tehran incident. A politician, stressed during a broadcast, accidentally bent gravity around her podium, crushing 3 aides and tearing a hole in the floor. Reality, it seemed, was fraying where the core's influence spread. Voss warned the World Science Council. "We are rewriting physics with feelings. This isn't invention. It's invitation." But by then, it was too late. The core awakens. One by one, those who spent the most time with the core began changing. Their dreams deepened. Voices began speaking to them. Not in madness, but in clarity. They reported seeing a world of impossible shapes, structures folding into themselves, and beings who called themselves the Shapers. They were not gods. Not aliens. They were conceptual lifeforms, entities who existed in a dimension where thought defined reality. The core, they explained, was never meant to be used so freely. It was a bridge. And every time Earth bent reality with the thought engine, the bridge grew stronger. And the walls grew thinner. Terror from within. The Earth cities that most relied on core technology began warping. Buildings leaned into impossible angles, doorways led to voids, and people disappeared mid-step, lost between moments. Some returned days later, transformed, emotionless, eyes filled with stars. Others whispered in languages that reversed when recorded. Then the skies darkened over New Berlin as a vortex opened in the sky. Towering figures descended, built from light and logic, speaking in thought. They didn't attack. They offered unity. Join us. Abandon chaos. Accept the shape. Many followed. They called it the pattern. Earth stood at a crossroads. The children of thought. Amid the chaos, a new generation emerged, children born after the core's return. They were different. They could control thought engines without strain. They altered objects without knowing how. They spoke in dual tones. They felt time. Dr. Voss realized, the core isn't changing reality. It's changing us. Preparing us to live in that other place. He proposed the silencing protocol, a total shutdown of all core-based technology, sealing the Andromeda drift, and burying the thought engines forever. But many refused. Across the world, two factions formed. The Keepers, who believed Earth should return to natural laws. The Shaped, who wanted to ascend into the new reality. And the core pulsed stronger with each passing day. Final echo. The last signal from the Andromeda drift came on a silent night. It wasn't a warning. It was an invitation. We are closer than ever. One thought, and the veil breaks. Come see. Then the ship vanished, dematerialized into nothing. Not destroyed. Just moved. Some say it entered the thought realm. Others say it's still here, just unseen by eyes that believe in physics. Years passed. Most of humanity returned to the old ways, fearful of another collapse. The thought engines were outlawed. The shapers faded from the skies. But in secret labs, quiet minds still build. And in the minds of gifted children, the core still hums. Dr. Voss disappeared one night, leaving only a note. We were never alone. We were just loud. Now we've whispered back, and something's listening. Somewhere, the Andromeda drift waits. Between thoughts. Between realities. Echoing forever in the void.